time. I'm May Thomas, and this is my weekly live stream 4D Trinity. Now, today's topic is honoring your 3D vehicle. What is your 3D vehicle? This is your physical body. This is your physical form. This is the part of you that shows up in this bodysuit in this world to do your mission. Now, if we are in a lot of pain, if we are continually distracted, but perhaps this life, but if it is not, if there is more, if it is just a stepping stone to your fuller realization and what you are here to do, which is what this is all about, then this show is for you. Because what we are doing is we are understanding and honoring our multidimensional. Yet to access our multidimensionality is to master this third dimensionality, right? To master the 3D. So there's a lot of folks, they want to get over to the 5Ds and to all these other Ds. Well, how's your 3D going? Learning to master our third dimensional allow us to show up to serve you in pain. Do you have pain on a daily basis? Is there an ailment? Is there an illness ongoing? Right? No matter how many legs, no matter how many kidneys, no matter how many eyeballs or whatever's going on in your life, right? This is your ride. This is how you are getting from A to B. And perhaps your ride is in another ride, a wheelchair or a set of crutches or whatever it might be, right? A prophylactic leg or whatever it might be. But here we are. Right? This is our body vehicle, and learning to listen and honor it is so, so powerful. I want to start with a story. You know, I like speed. I like driving fast. I like race cars. I like learning to ride a motorbike. There's a lot of different things that I like. It doesn't work. We're going to, you get to explore and to find out. But on a very basic level, what we get to do is we get to explore what is working for us and what is not working for us. Thank you for hopping on. I'm giving this a second go here. The first videos on both YouTube and Insta were not working out. So here we go. Pain. It is a karmic agreement of pain, right? Is it something that you can work with? That you can, our multidimensionality is a very, very powerful, powerful initiation to come into and going on, and then it knocks them out for like 2 to 3 days, this whole digestive thing. And then when the bottom line is their body had been telling them the whole time to stop eating gluten, but they didn't want to hear that because they like the bread and the pasta and the crackers and whatever. So they were like, no. And they did, right? It would put them out, and it would put them in their body, like to such a degree where they were so distracted because they had to take from them not listening and honoring what their body's wisdom was telling them, that it would get them all out of whack. And then they'd be on track for a week or so, and then it would get out of whack again. And this just, years and years and years and years of being just in the presence of this person going through this cycle. So what are your cycles? Because then all I know is that I went to go visit this person last week, and I see them, and I was like, their whole face, their body, their eyes, their skin, everything was different. And I was like, they even kind of looked like they lost a few pounds. And I was like, what's going on? How are you doing? And they were saying, oh my God, I haven't eaten gluten for 3 days. And I was like in 3 days, their whole, everything had changed. And not only that, they finally heard it, even though their body had been telling them for so long, they finally got it that they could say, oh, some fun. So they're like, puffy, there's less inflammation. Her joints feel better. Her digestion is on. She doesn't have to be distracted of oh, what's going on in my gut, and continually lay down and, have to give into it. It's like there's a whole new world. And she was like, beep, shiny, as simple as gluten. What is it for you? Is it sugar? Is it cigarettes? Is it cookies? Is it, what is it? It's like, is it a drug? Is it an addiction? But she, as long as she had to just keep nursing the gut and the whole cycle, there were holes in her aura, right? There was depletion of energy, but of this continual ailment stuff going on. Right? And sometimes it's as simple as that. So we're not talking, I know there's heavier ailments and issues, right? Blessings, wondering what messages gluten has for them. Well, it sounds like gluten was saying basically you're leaving the safety of knowing who you are. You're a very good nurse. Your grandmother became ill 6 months ago. Myself and my mother cared for her for the last 6 months. God bless her. She passed last month. It was a very powerful and very deeply emotional time. I got back into smoke. I have my mission. I've got things that I get to do during my weekdays, and I know that if I smoke it every day, for me personally, is that it lowers my energy. I don't have as much energy and as much clarity to really get those sharp downloads. My own ability to react, to respond, is a little clap back on that horse of smoking every day. And for me personally, I'm not making any judgment to anyone else, but for me personally, what I had to see is this filmy residue in my aura that just started to build up, and it created like just a haze, a fuzz. And then I felt fuzzy, and all of my creative energy and my visions and my mission, it's like everything slows down. It doesn't have that kundalini. It doesn't have that fire, right, of your heart ablaze, of you being clear, and like slow depletion. Many years of it, because I had things I need to do. And I was realizing that if I try to smoke pot every day, I'm actually realizing that I'm not being successful in getting to my goals and to showing up for my aspirations, right? And so what is it for you? So the story is, grandma's already passed, and I'm realizing this, and I'm going, oh, Tuesday. And I'm realizing then these new day-to-day thing, which it becomes more invested in getting high, right? That's predominant, right? And now you may still meditate and do your other practices, but you're going to make sure you got your pot, okay? So let's just be clear on that. I'm actually and I was being lazy, and I thought about it, and I'm like, I know I got to get back in because I got to do a race car training, like a real NASCAR race car on a real racetrack. This is in LA. You can do it anyway. So they canceled it until June. Clear, and not like on my full Jedi power. I'm going like, I cannot get behind the wheel. I mean, I can, and I can maybe cruise, but I want to race. I want to do it, And so I realized the higher self is like, well, kid, you got to stop smoking. Like you can't if you want to have the do your thing, but with the intention of getting back on your meditations and your other spiritual practices, you still do, but you're gonna have did it. So I did it, and I just prayed, and I was like, God, help me to will my willpower, because I had gotten flabby, you see, during taking care of grandma. I just became that smoker again, that teenage version of me that was just smoking, waking and baking, and constantly that habit, that thing away. It took the distraction of that away from me. So I was able to just be clear, be clean, and come back into my absolute clarity. Track on Sunday. It's on my, and at Instagram. If you follow me on Instagram, I have a highlight reel of the little snippets of my day, and it's called Race Car. It's a real freaking race car. You are going, if you let yourself. You can, if you let yourself. Now, I got into a situation in that car, right? I drive stick, and you could have the option to have it get in there. You think it's like a car. It's not like a car. It's a freaking race car. It's a whole different experience, and you don't even know what you're getting yourself into until you're there. An hour of training in the classroom, and then they suit you up, and they get you in, they strap you in the car. And here I am, right? And I'm going like, it's like so freaking cool, because here you are. This is your mission, right? This is what you want. This is a part of your destiny. You've chosen this. How many people freaking sign up to drive a race car for a day? Huh? Like, what are you doing that's out of what do you do the XYZ? It's like, that's your mission. That's where your multidimensional power, that's where your superpowers are going to access you, and you will access them. Like I said in a post, right? You can get into a race car, and you can drive, or you can race. And honey, I was there to race. Yes, I am. And the whole reason, fire, this kundalini, this energy that is obviously seeking a means through you. And so that night I came, and I booked it, and I instantly, by me honoring that need for speed in me, right? I instantly felt grounded. I felt like then next time I got into the car to drive, and just do my dailies, that need to like take it out on myself a little down the line. So cut back onto the racetrack. So here I am, clean, no smoking. Here I had been smoking pot for 6 months every single day. This was the first full week where it was nothing. And then we had like keeping it Jedi, just like, no, I have, my intention is I want to be fully calibrated to my highest ability, because I want to have my 100% experience in that race car. I don't want to go in stoned and all, or even fuzzy and just be like, yeah, whatever. Oh, that was fun. I mean, and I'm not making fun of stoners, making fun of me. But you're going to be, what the fuck is going on? You're just going to be like, the steering wheel's tiny, brace on, you're strapped in. It's different than what you might even think. It's, if you're freaked out or claustrophobic, you might even freak really out and not be able to go too far at all. But I was into it. And that morning, check this out. Before I left, I called in. I was like, how many lifetimes have I been a race car driver? Let me call in all of those versions of myself where I've ever been a race car driver in every single life that I've been here. There was only 18. I was like, there's only 18? Okay, y'all, come on in. So all of those 18 versions of me that have the memory plates that are connected to those Akashic records that know how to drive a race car. I was like, okay, y'all, come on in. So come with me, the essence of all of those aspects to align, to help serve, right, the practice of driving very, very fast in a safe way so that we don't die, so that we can come back and do it again, right? So we don't have to get injuries, but that we can enjoy be there where I'm like on the freeway driving back, having my realization and fully freaking out, because there was a moment you go as fast as you want, as you can, on the straightaways of a racetrack, but you want to drive fast, but you want to like as you want, but not get kicked off the track. So you hit the cone, you have to decelerate, and then you can only, if you have to, they encourage you to try to just take the corner. If you need, don't go any higher. They only go to third gear. And these are not practice cars for kids that they give. These are the real race cars that the racers use. It only goes to third gear, but from third gear, it goes up to 200 miles an hour. So here you go. You have to get it into third, and you're riding, but so no changing gears, no clutch. I'm getting it. And I'm like, I'm like getting it. And then you have the instructor. They're like they're like, okay, number 52, pull down, so 54 can go around you, and blah, blah. So there's all these. You have this constant conversation with the guy up in the stands. He's helping to guide you. It's a full-on experience. If you're into it, I encourage you, do it. Going faster and faster on the straightaways. I'm in the story. God's like, okay, tell the story. God says hi. Yes, I will. Okay. So I'm on the straightaway, building up speed, because then no brakes as you go around the turn. And then you have to go into like what you do, what you don't do, how you do it, breathe. Okay, great. But now here I am, I'm building up turns, and there's lines down the center of the windshield in those race cars. And ideally, what you're doing is you want to line up the middle of that meridian that's painted around the corner. If you feel really good out there and you want more, then try to edge up about 12 inches above the line. And what'll happen, because the racetrack is tilted, right? So there's some physics to this. I'm not sure, my bros will know, but there's some physics to this. So it's tilted up. So if you get above the line a little bit, he said, what'll happen is that it will carry you, and you'll actually build more speed, and it'll whip you around that corner. And so I was like, so here I am 10 or something laps in, and I'm going like, I'm going to try what teach it felt. I felt comfortable. I felt the upper lip of this little dotted line around this next corner. And I'm going to go the fastest that I've ever gone yet in this thing, because I'm feeling now we're in, we got this, right? So here we go, shooting down the straightaway, coming to the cone, the steering wheel's tiny, turning, and I need to tap the brake. So I put my foot down. The car is not slowing down. And I'm going, oh, okay. Like for the split second, this is all happening, right? And I'm pushing, and the thing is all the way down to the ground, and I'm like, the brake turning, and I kept going, and I just breathed, and I was incredibly calm. I was incredibly clear, and it was like the ocean. It got handled. And everything could be very, very different I had my little record, my pot, right? I hadn't smoked all week, and it was Sunday night. So I'm like, I'm allowed to have a puff, right? It's Sunday in my rules for myself. So I come home, and I'm like, blessings and thank you, angels and guardians, oh my goodness, that was so amazing and all that stuff. Have my little puff. And all of a sudden, you know what I feel often with puff is it's like, and you cut it and you open it up, and there's like all the little paper dolls, and like that's your and you're like, you see more, right? I just had to realize like that was really powerful what had happened. I actually got scared. It was only when I had puffed later that I actually got a little scared, because I realized the volume of these. Like I grabbed the lounge thing I was sitting on. So fun, but it was so fun, but it was, it was like this very interesting dichotomy. And I realized this must be what those motocross, those parkour, those people who fight, like really fight with weapons, like not afraid to cut you or to be cut or to be hit, like not just sparring, but like to really jump off of a fucking mountain, nothing, but it's the beginning of me knowing that initiation with life and death, with this physical body. So again, back to what this whole show is about, honoring the 3D vehicle. And your life and everything within you and all around you is never going to be the same again. You have accessed now a new dimension of your multidimensionality, of your super power and ability, because you're not afraid to die. Because to live and to live fully. If my higher self, if I was getting ready to drive out there that day and do all that stuff, and if my higher self was like, don't go, today's not the day, if I was getting signals from higher self, intuition, gut feelings that this is something's not right, I would honor that. It's honoring it. It's not being a fool. That's the opposite of where the show is going. What the show is all about is it's listening, and it's with this release, working with grandma so closely, grandma's passing, and then having a week or two to still puff, right? But then here we go. The race thing is coming up, and knowing that I want to be my clearest and sharpest. It would have been a completely different experience if I was, had a hangover high. It just would. It would. But honoring my physical vehicle, honoring the wisdom of what it was telling me so that I could meet my mission to know fast. In my post, and one of the posts that I posted, the text of it is, it's like, this is like make, right? And how fast are you willing to be? There's a part of us that gets to be willing to dematerialize a mystical experience to happen, because it doesn't happen here in the third dimension of experience. It does not happen in this third dimension when I was going through that experience. Now, if I would have crashed, guiding me the whole 20 laps in there, so that there was a dance, it's a relationship, a communication. And because of that clarity and my ability to really hear and to honor what I was hearing, right, created this extreme experience whereby I got to, with the tip of my tongue, taste something that I don't even know what to call it, except that this must be what those extreme sportsters, a 200-foot ramp to jump. There's only about 10 or 20 people, right? His friends and his family's like right there cheering him. First one, this type guy did. He got up on the fourth time. Now he had that karma though, like amazing grace, and he landed, and everyone was like, whoa! But it was like, what had to be going on in this dude's mind, or what is not going on? No thinking. Mission is to know. A part of it is to go fast, and is to and properly and safely drive a dirt bike in the dirt, right? Which is where vision to getting on that motocross track, and at least letting myself try it. At least letting myself honor, like to create the correct conditions so that I can be, safe enough and have enough experience that my teacher will say, okay, girl, you're ready. Try it out. Little things. Driving a fast car, motocross, painting, tai chi. But if that's what's calling you, that's what's lighting you up, that's what's turning you to give you juice for the next run, for the next motocross, for the next race, for the next painting, beautiful painting you paint, for the next, you gather and you garner this most amazing and profound life force energy. But we tap it when we leave you comments. Thank you for hanging out. I'm so very grateful. Oh, blessings. Yeah. Well, I'm going to leave that there. Yeah. That's what my father had. So there's a lot of heart stuff, right? And now this is all matrix. This is all blood ties stuff. This is all worldly, earthly 3D stuff. It's not real, right? To a degree. I've been smoking for almost 40 years, marijuana and tobacco. And while my health is fantastic, there's a sense of, I'm almost 50 years old. There's a sense of like all those unconscious and subconscious fears and belief structures that we walk with. All of those lineages and genetics, right, of our past. And even though there's epigenetics and it's not real, right? Because, your mother had breast cancer, you don't have to, relive those karmas. Perhaps you're in contract and you've just Akashic records to start working on ourselves and start breaking down our fears and our limitations. We're like, wait a minute, that was Uncle Bob's. That doesn't even believe to me. Or, and you start body. And for me is the heart keeps coming up. And then my My cousin passes. We go out to the funeral. An aunt and an uncle, while they get into so I'm like, okay, universe, I'm listening. Now, and it's not to be afraid. It's not to be like, oh my God, my heart. No, the elements, right? So, you know, the Louise Hay book, right? Heal Your of Metaphysics. She's the grandmother, great grandmother of metaphysics is what I call her. And she has this amazing list of all physical ailments you can imagine, their probable cause, which are mental and emotional, and then an affirmation to help remedy it, to help repair. And I tell you, I've had ailments and I've looked in that book and I've gone to the mirror and I've used her affirmation, even just 1 or 2 or 3 times, and that thing has disappeared, right? So you've learned whatever you needed to learn from it, right? If your back is out, she's like, well, where are you not feeling supported? It's like if if something wrong with your eye, well, what are you not seeing, right? Something's not wrong with your stomach. Where do you, so that you can show up and you learn that behooves you if you're on a path of strengthening your supernatural powers and abilities, of becoming and embodying your multidimensional self. We get to honor this third dimensional vehicle first and foremost, because to the degree that we've honored this 3D vehicle is to the degree it's going to work for you in all those other dimensions. So if you're in a rush to get out of here and to be somewhere else dimension wise, be mindful that you're being mindful and listening to what your body requires for you, just so that it can perform to its highest degree on this dimension. It will serve those multidimensional experiences, like how I had in that race car, where I got to realize an extended power. So, Course in Miracles, and we're going to read the ego body illusion, page 65 from the text, A Course in Miracles. All things work together for good. In A Course in Miracles, will refer to the ego as just the fear part of us, the fear-based acts into awareness. As long as I was like very satisfied smoking pot every day, I would make my ego, right, would make excuses as to why I needed to why it was okay to continue having that habit and that pattern. The ego is thrown further off balance because it keeps its primary motivation from your awareness and raises control rather than sanity to predominance. So it's going to keep on telling you to do this according to the thought system which gave rise to it and which serves it. So again, it's all in the mind, right? What thoughts were I thinking for so long over this lifetime, and perhaps, hey, for me to have a certain habit with all those stories are that I've told myself, right? The ego totally uses those, right? When the moment you stir and the moment you start thinking about laying the pot down or laying the whiskey bottle down or putting throwing those, unless that, your ego's gonna be like, wait. You know how you need a candy bar after that movie and after that thing. You know how that cup of coffee does you good because you're not gonna shit in the morning. Sane judgment would inevitably judge against the ego and must be obliterated by the ego in the interest of its self-preservation. So any sane judgment that you might have, sane judgment, that would be your emotions of your ego, right? That just gets obliterated. The ego, like the moment that you start thinking clearly, the ego's like, no. Okay. A major source of the ego's off-balanced state is its lack of discrimination between the body and the thoughts of God. Now we think about God as being love, just the frequency of God are unacceptable to the ego because they clearly point to the non-existence of the ego itself. See, the moment that I started thinking like, yeah, I can't smoke this stuff every day. This really isn't serving me. I need to write the screenplay. I want to write the screenplay. I'm going to do this. I have this mission. I have this vision. I know what I'm here to do in this lifetime. And this thing is just hanging me back and making me distracted and making me lazy, taking my energy and, all this stuff. It'll remind me of like the positive aspects of why I do enjoy that little smoke. I do enjoy it. But you know what I realize is I enjoy it even more, and I get even more out of it the less I use it. So when I do my little like no smoking during the week and have some fun puffs, on the weekend, that's when it's like, oh, and I get my creative ideas explode, and I see things like in a more broadened way, and it's awesome, right? But it will use that. You can't sacrifice that because look what we're doing for you. Look what this habit is doing for you. Thoughts of God are unacceptable to the ego. It refuses to accept them. It cannot, however, make them cease to be. So that's the point, is that thoughts of God is we can think about that that's your body talking to you. That's your higher self, knocking on the door of you, saying like, are you listening? Are you listening? I have inflammation here. Whole pH or the whole system, right? And by her making that firm decision, her whole body was able to relax and reset. And it didn't have to be in stress mode and fight or flight. And even though it's subtle, that's what we do to our bodies when we're not listening. It's like if I have a knee injury, which I have had in the past, but I like to go to the gym and lift weights and do stuff at the Smith machine, right? But I'm not going to squat. If I have something gone wrong with my knee, and my knee says, put one of these little, these little things, you can put them on your elbow or your wrist or your arm or your whatever. And if I don't, and I go out into it, and it's going to get louder. It's like your tooth. What if your tooth is talking to you? You ignore it, right? It gets louder until you finally get to the dentist. And sometimes we leave it till the last, until it's really gone crazy. But it's often, right, the moment your tooth is doing something, and even if it's for a couple of days, and then you make the appointment. But as soon as you make the appointment, your tooth is like, okay, it can chill. It doesn't have to turn the volume up so loud on the warning signals because it knows that you've listened. And so the pain kind of recedes a little bit. It might still be there, but it won't be as acute. Same thing with the knee. As soon as I put the thing on and I listen and I go, okay, so no super bending, no super squats. I can do deadlifts, but let's lay off of the today. But my body's like, okay, she gets it. We can relax. Now we can be fully 100% in this workout. And we don't have to be, with tension and in fight or flight, thinking she's going to try to do 100 squats with 50 pounds with a, knee that's feeling tweaky today. You know what I mean? It's like these simple things that we listen. And then it changes the whole dynamic, because you listening is you honoring higher self, is you being your higher self, is you using stuff. But until you actually have the experience, knowledge is nothing without experience. The profundity of the experience of being in your body, and also, again, what is I like the car and that moment because I had to have it, or moment. And I was ready. Your third dimensional vehicle, your body is your that you are prepared and ready to be met with. It's all frequency match. Like everything in this universe, frequency match. We don't know. Yet there's a sense that no, hell no, is what I want to say. Because I wasn't prepared. There was no preparation, right? There would be no preparation other than a different kind of preparation, which would be get more film, get more smoke in my aura, get a little foggier and like have fun, sure, and whatever. But like to have that Jedi moment experience that I had that I can't even put into words properly still now. What happens is when you are, all my crew, they were bubbles of light surrounding to the nth degree through all dimensions, time and space, no doubt. Yet at the same time, behind the wheel. At the same time, spirit's there as the wheel, as the wheels on the car, as everything. Am I being clear? There's a certain levity. There's a certain spirit. And so like to what level? To learn the cuts and to humble and to Brazilian, right, martial arts. I did it for years in New York. They spend a lot of time. Can we just freaking fight? Can I just get out there and sweat like that? And I was like, nah. But it's like but if for those Capoeirians, that are into it, they're like singing the songs and they're into it, and that's like you to have that powerful, clear connection. And there's nothing like it, but only we can telling us, saying, hello, this is what you can do. So I don't even know how much time we have. Because I started and then I stopped and then we started again. I wanted to do a little meditation on this, but maybe that'll be just a whole separate thing. So are there any questions? I know there's only a small group, yet is there anything else that I am guided to share? Perhaps the message has been translated and we are good now. So I pray and I affirm that today's show and everything in it, of spiritual growth and of sovereignty and of you coming into your supernatural or wherever you're called to go or be dimension-wise, everything you're going to learn, what you are, all you're called to do and be in this third dimension and the mastery that you attain here, because this is the school of hard knocks. That's why we start here. And this is also your solar plexus. And to have the right passageway into the go around the heart, or you can't go, or to get to the higher dimensions, I mean, you can go around the heart, but that's a synthetic dimension. It's not it's not of God, if you will. It's not of love, of truth. It's not from the heart. It's pure knowledge without heart. Third chakra, through this third dimension, and master it. That mastery, again, is going to walk with you throughout all of the dimensions you may be called. And all of the tools that you use here, your listening, your meditations, your aura skills, your whatever all your skills are here, dimensions, to the degree that you've mastered them here. And she was saying, well, what do you think? And I go, well, that's because that person has the ceiling of their growth, spiritual advice. They're thinking, well, that advice is good advice, but it only takes me so far. And she was ready for like supernatural advice, growth up to a certain point. So she didn't even have vocabulary. Yet we listen to the body, because listening to the body is a meditation. Bring the third dimensional vehicle first, and to listen is a level of vitality, the next level of expanded supernatural awareness. Because all those parts of you will be given the right of way by simply you honoring and giving the body's wisdom its own right of way. So thank you for being here, everyone. Thank you for hopping on. Even if you just hopped on, I'm so grateful. And it's continually talking to you. The question is, are you listening? So I know it's been a while since I've sent out a monthly newsletter. You can go to my LinkedIn for my monthly newsletter, both of these communities, and for all of the followers.